Hello, welcome to the latest episode of To the Edge. This week is a follow-up to last week's episode. We're going to focus on Mike Messier's film Blood Sugar Seed Ace again. And we're going to go a little more in-depth than we did last time. We'll be discussing anecdotes, the acting process itself, and we'll be showing some demo reels. So hopefully you all enjoy that.
Hi,
Yeah.
I'm Mike Messier Roland. Thank you very much. I was a writer, director, co-producer of Blood Sugar Seed Ace. It's a movie, it's a 73-minute feature film. It's a psychological drama, and it's about four characters kind of bouncing off each other as created by Sid, played by Laurence O'Leary, who's right here. Sid creates Ace, who's a younger version of himself. Sid also creates Blood, who's the broken doll personality, who's kind of someone who's dysfunctional, someone who's got a lot of pain in their life based on their own childhood experiences, so that's Blood. Ace and Blood have a relationship. And finally there's Sugar, played by Stacey Forbes Iwaniki, who's right here in our studio. And Stacey plays Sugar, who is the light of day presence, the female, the light at the end of the tunnel, the light at the end of the tunnel, the heavenly, ethereal character who comes in to try and save the day for these other characters and push them forward beyond the murkiness, the muddled field of no man's land, so to speak, that they're in. So today we're going to be talking with Stacey Forbes Iwaniki and Laurence O'Leary, aka Larry, and we're going to talk about some anecdotes, some interesting things from the movie process, and hopefully it'll be fun.
So what can you tell us about the process of acting, whether it's for Blood Sugar Seed Ace or any other type of role in general?
Well, if you asked me, I would say always expect the unexpected. You know, obviously for weeks and months we had built up to film, and ironically, I actually had left my costume back in New Hampshire, and we had to very quickly improvise, and it worked, and it actually became almost myself, because I had other things with me, you know, that like rosary beads that are a symbol of, you know, hopefully like having faith, whatever your faith may be. And we were able to improvise just using things out of my own personal that drew it all together, which was really good. A funny thing that did happen is with Adam, although he was new, I had a little bit more experience than him. Adam was able to teach me things. There was a few different pieces throughout the film that I had some trouble with. During rehearsals, I have a few lines that have some words that are choice words, and I would always use the initial. And eventually Mike's like, you have to actually say the word while we film. And Adam would bring it out of me somehow. He would either whisper something to get me going that would make me enraged, or to get me angry enough so that I could feel that and actually use the word and not sound like a fifth grader. So that was an interesting piece, I think.
Adam was good at that. Adam had a really unique ability to tap into people, which made him good for the role as well.
Yeah, Adam Bucksbaum, who plays Ace, that we'll see in the trailer. Just to jump in real quick, go ahead.
Yeah, Jamie did too. Jamie would sometimes tap into you and bring things to life, and I guess we all worked synergistically with each other. Mm-hmm. And I know it was pretty powerful. For me, to develop a character, I keep a diary of everything that happens to me, good and bad. I remember that emotion, and then I study the character, and I try to watch, you know, Robert De Niro and Anthony Hopkins and people who have portrayed those type of characters, and watch their actions and find my own reality in that. And this character took me to many dark areas, which is, to be an actor, I mean, we many of us will, I mean, when we're children or even adults, say, hey, I can do that, I can play that character. Why? Because they can relate to that role, because that character actually is doing something that they do in real life, and they're saying, hey, gee, I could be an actor. Well, an actor has to go into many different aspects, and it's not acting, it's being real. So when you see all of these characters in this movie, we're all real. I mean, I was Sid for the entire day. I didn't come out of character at any time. And it was challenging, not as an actor, as a human being, to go into those dark sides of myself, to relate to some parts of my life that most people don't even want to go to. They don't want to even imagine. They want to put on the back burner and use it to become Sid in this movie. And
It's a real psychological mirror.
this is a character-driven psychological drama of epic proportion. This is a modern-day Shakespeare. 58 pages of dialogue in a 70-some-odd minute
73
movie.
minutes, I looked it up.
73-minute movie that was done in a black box setting. It's theater comes to film. It's something like nobody's ever seen before. It takes an intellectual mind to enjoy it. It's like during the Shakespearean times, only the elite could watch Shakespeare. Only the elite could understand Shakespeare. This is right in that realm. There hasn't been a movie like that, and you have to hang on every word of this film, and it's deep, and it's for the intellectually stimulated, for sure.
The last one I remember was actually from 1957. It was 12 Angry Men, which was them arguing in a courtroom about a verdict, and that was the whole 2 hours.
These guys, what I threw the template down was the movie Long Day's Journey into Night, starring Katharine Hepburn, I believe Jason Robards, although I could be wrong. And I wanted these guys to live up to that standard. I think they did. Long Day's Journey into Night, if I have my facts right, was a play by Eugene O'Neill, directed for the screen in a film by Sidney Lumet. And I read Sidney Lumet's book. I believe it's called How to Make Movies, or Making Movies by Sidney Lumet. And it was a real inspiration. And I wanted to take us into that place with 4 actors, 1 location, pretty similar to Long Day's Journey into Night, that actually had 4 main characters and 1 little extra character. But with these guys, they just delivered the goods. And on a practical sense, we can mention the rehearsal process that you guys went through. We were talking off camera. Stacy would literally drive after a full day's work. I don't know what time, 6, 7 in the morning, she'd have to be at work, and go a full day's worth of work, a full 8-hour job, probably 9-hour job, and then drive 3 hours, 3.5 hours from New Hampshire all the way to North Smithfield, Rhode Island.
It wasn't just the 3.5 hours. She was in rush hour traffic,
Right.
which makes a 3.5-hour
That's
drive in
brutal.
Boston 6 hours.
It was definitely tough, but Mike was really good. Larry was great. They would always keep me company. They knew that I had a long ride home, and we usually didn't wrap rehearsals until 9:30. So I wasn't getting home until after midnight, and we did that more than once a week for months. And so I was going from New Hampshire to Mass to Rhode Island, hours and hours in the car. But it also gave me time that was quiet time, that I was able to use my MP3 and listen to my lines. And like Larry did, I would record other lines so that I would know where my cue was, and it would give me time to just get a little bit creative. I had a lot of places that were new for me to go in this film, and I would definitely say that the stress of that was a lot, but I think we all put pressure on ourselves to deliver what we know Mike wanted. And I think each time you watch it, you'll probably pick up on something else. It's definitely one of those films that you'll hold it. You won't go to the bathroom. You'll wait because you don't want to miss anything.
I've always found that the best films, when you rewatch them, you notice something that wasn't there before. And you can
you'll
rewatch it
definitely.
50 times and you still notice something.
You'll definitely see that. You were always greeted with cookies, pizza,
Always, yes.
soft drinks.
We were treated very well.
Complimented by Joe Cassiri of Ronzio's Pizza, sponsored the food for it. So every time we went to rehearsal, he made sure we had pizza, and Mike
It
would
was
make sure
tough,
cookies.
but I mean, we got fed, and
Oh, that's right. You brought the nachos sometimes.
yeah. I mean, overall, what I mean is, people have other things going on in their life too. I mean, not just myself.
Yeah.
I mean, some people have kids, some people had, boyfriends or girlfriends, that things were in a different place, and you have to try to leave all of it at the door and come in and put your best foot forward. We were all really, good to each other as far as we could pick up on what each other had for a typical day. If I was off for a day or if Larry was off, someone in our group would pick up on it and pull us aside and say, what's going on? Do you
Within
need
a half
help?
hour,
Or-
we were all
But-
acclimated.
It would take us no time at all to get back on track. And
And Jamie, she's a mother of two. She has a husband and two children in Attleboro, so she would come from her family. And Adam was in East Providence. He was always coming from a job. He's was a carpenter, and so when we all met, there was this acclimation and unwinding that we had to do relatively quick because we had to apply our time. But as Stacy said, it was at my dojo that we would do it, and everybody would always listen to their lines or work their lines on the way there, and it was very, very supportive environment, which is not all that common in the ego-based acting world. It was very, very supportive.
yeah, people tend to separate themselves. I mean, even on Universal Films and stuff like that, that you'll find that people separate. They go into their own area and
Cliques.
right.
It's the same with
Right.
anything.
But it's right, same with anything, absolutely. But with this group, it was completely different. Some of the scenes that you see, they're real. I mean, Adam and I had some really intense scenes, and he would really upset me, and it would be real. And I knew that it wasn't reality, but to me, that very second, he was yelling at me, and that my reaction was true to how he was speaking.
There were points in this film where you would think that the two actors are going to kill each other.
Oh, and that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The characters, but the actors as
Right.
that thin line between actor and character, you do see some real combative moments, and I think, as Larry illustrated, that you're watching this and you're like, whoa, this is affecting the heart and the mind of the viewer, just as it did us making the production.
Yes, the viewer will definitely be pulled in many emotional directions watching this film.
In the really intense scenes when you're really acting out at each other, do you have a hard time separating the person from the character after the take? Do you have to mentally remind yourself?
Not at all. Not at all. Jamie and I would be in each other's face, and then we would go to the ladies' room together after.
Just laugh it off?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Jamie Tennille is the actress playing Blood, just so we got her full name out there.
Yeah, you would never guess that we had just screamed in each other's face, and she could verbally attack you that would hurt you more than screaming in your face, and she's great at it, but she's the sweetest person off camera.
She is,
She's completely different. I mean, just like Larry, he's like gentle giant, I think everyone in our group just has such a good soul, and to see them on camera, you would never know that. You would never, guess that he is as sweet and calm-natured as he really is.
I said on our webpage that I thought Lawrence's inhabitation of Sid was similar to Anthony Hopkins playing Hannibal Lecter in Silence of the Lambs. I'm sure, I don't know Mr. Hopkins personally, obviously, but I do know Lawrence, and I'm glad to know Lawrence as such a nice guy and a caring, sensitive guy.
Thank you.
But when you put that Sid into him, look out. And Stacy, for her part, is much closer to her character because, as you see in her presence here, it's just a nice, light, loving, soulful person, and putting Stacy into Sugar was just an ideal match. One thing I would like to say, Roland, is that for the movie, I did, Tim and I, Labonte, our co-producer, created a disc, a CD of audio songs, Johnny Cash, obscure female artists, Elgin Fields, I believe we had U2, and some other musicians. Pink Floyd was on there. And we created this disc for the actors to listen to. And I think, Stacy, you might have listened to that on your long drives back and forth. I just mentioned that because if there's filmmakers out there, you got to use anything you can do to convey messages to your actors. Use an audio experience like music. Tell them to read certain books. I think Stacy I had a passage from the Bible or two for her to read and so on and so forth.
To make it more spiritual.
For her character, for Adam Buxbaum playing Ace, I had him listen to and watch the movie Pink Floyd The Wall, the soundtrack and the actual film. So
Without spoiling anything, any particular reason why you chose another brick into the wall?
the movie The Wall by Pink Floyd was because I related to that character in the movie of Pink in The Wall because he's going through mental distress, he's having major personal issues. There's family, parental issues for the character of Pink in The Wall. And I thought that related to Ace in Blood Sugar Sid Ace. And I thought Adam, being a young, 20-something guy, would relate to the rock and roll music and the message.
I, unlike Sugar, was not out of character. Sugar is Sugar. I mean, she's sweet, and her character did have to go some dark places, but she's a sweet lady. And there's no, obviously, beautiful and sweet. As Sid, I embodied the character. I was aware of it. I would practice with people in public. My family couldn't wait till the movie was over because I would tell them that and they say, "Oh, working on your lines." Yeah, I'm working on character development. And I would, and I still do it to this day, whatever character I'm playing, when I get on set, I am that character until I'm off set. And that character is me. I'm not that character. That character is me. Or however you want to put it, I embody whatever I do. So on set, as I was mentioning in a previous interview, sometimes the director kind of had to give the makeup artist a little heads up that he's in character, so if he seems abrasive, then don't take it. He's in character. At one point, here's a you want something something to laugh about. I'm in character in a really, really deep part, and it's dark. Got the spotlight on me, and it's hot. So I'm sitting there, and it was a Sunday, and it is a studio. It was a professional studio, but there were other parts in the building, and somebody decided to go down the hallway with some sort of a wheel truck, and I would be just into my lines, and it was really one of my deepest parts, and they go, "Cut," and the boom mic operator would go and tell them to be quiet, and it'd say, the boom mic, well, that happened 3 times.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was purposefully done.
After the 3rd time, I kept saying, "Let me go out there with Sid. I'm in a mood. I'll go out there. He won't be running that." And I'm talking like this. So finally, I'm in there, and I was squatted down like this in the cameras, and I'm really deep. And
Don't do it again.
I won't do it again.
Oh, no. Too bad.
I got up and I went, "Shut!" And I was really loud, and everybody was scared. And they said, "Don't let him go out the door. Don't let him." It stopped. Whatever I did stopped. And I mean, I was loud. And I don't remember the exact piece, but I guarantee you, when you watch that particular clip, you're going to see some serious anger. Real anger, because
It was a holy Sunday until that moment. And then the devil came.
Right. The devil is dead.
good thing we had the angel there to ward off the devil.
It was, from a practical standpoint, if I could go back in time,
Sure.
I would have worked out a deal with some local venue to have an air-conditioned studio that, the trick is to have an air-conditioned studio where the air conditioner doesn't make a lot of noise, and for a fee that we could afford, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But like we said in a previous episode, Roland, I think Stacy said that the heat in the studio must have added to the performances, because if you get to that brink of uncomfort, this is not a comfortable movie.
Yeah, I reached that level at the end, that you just felt broken, just because you had put everything you had, love, sweat, tears into it, and you wanted to go above and beyond what you could. It's almost the beyond human to be in a room that's so hot, and
Hellish.
Yes.
Right, and it just was so intensified because you didn't want to make a mistake. You didn't want to have them rewind and reset. But, it happens, and we were so supportive of each other. We would figure out little, little tricks to keep each one of us in cue and on task. And Mike and Tim were so patient. Just to say that the camera guy, I mean, to hold a camera for that length of time, and it is so heavy, and to be steady and try to have patience with an actor or an actress that can't remember their line. He is like the best.
He's a god as well.
Yeah,
Tim Labonte,
he has the patience of God. I mean, he really does.
I will say I've been acting longer than anybody, and I've done many movies that was there, and the level of professionalism was the highest I've ever seen on any set between 4 people. The talent in new actors, the talent that came out of these actors was some of the highest I have ever seen on a set with 4 people. I was highly impressed, and
we just fed off of each other so well.
I think the important thing is, and I mentioned it before, the only egos we had were the group together as an ego to make this the best production that we could make. And I think that
I got a T-shirt.
You got a T-shirt, yeah.
We got to get the
Ben there got the T-shirt.
T-shirts.
This piece was a very special piece to all of us, and to me, I'm looking forward to that point where it gets out to a larger audience, and some things are in the works, but we'll deal with that when it comes. But it's so great to be here with you, Roland, and thanks for having us on to talk about the movie.
Now, before we wrap up this episode completely, these actors have devoted a lot of time and energy into their craft, and we're going to spotlight their work in 2-minute reels, and then we're going to conclude the episode with a trailer of the film again for those who missed the last episode.
Wally, I want to help you. You have no idea how many people come in here that are just like you. They've had enough and they can't take it anymore. That's how I know they're looking for change. And you've had enough. You can't take it anymore. That's why you're here. You're asking for help.
Maybe this was just a mistake.
Let me help you. Please.
Going on down there, it's a whole different world. You gotta be tough as nails. What?
The case.
Wait,
What? Where is it?
you're the contact?
Yeah. You do have it, right?
I gave it to the guy.
What guy?
The guy, he winked at me. I thought he was the contact, so I gave him the case.
Newbie.
What?
Nothing.
Hey!
Why would you do that, you idiot? Come on, Bond.
Whoa, buddy. Where you going?
None of your business.
Yeah, you're gonna turn around and get the fuck out of here if you know what's good for you.
Who the hell are you?
Turn around and get the fuck out of here.
I'm going in.
Fuck you! Very clever, Mr. Anderson. But no, I've retested your blood samples, and it turns out that the previous results were incorrect. They actually showed an excessive amount of white blood cells.
Okay, talk over my head and down to me a little more.
Well, to put it quite simply, Mr. Anderson, you're not dying. is my attempt at a low-budget, character-driven psychological drama. This is my story.
You don't have a story to tell.
This is the cross I bear. These are the things I do.
Of your lies. The lies God speaks through your mouth.
Judge me not.
If I were to die, could you exist?
The Creator is more than his creations.
I am this chosen one. I do the things you do. When they laugh at you, I kill them in my heart.
I lie to tell the truth because no one hears my screams!
There was a time when I thought no one else had thoughts, ideas, dreams.
I am not myself today. Today, I feel like someone else.
You. A waste of my potential. You. A waste of my blood.
I always wanted to be a writer.
Not a writer that wrote for himself.
I wanted to be a writer that wrote for money.
Big money. Hollywood type of money.
We cross out lines in the old rule book, create our own games, and laugh and die at our own jokes. I want to be free.
His was what it was not supposed to be.
It was a pleasure to have all of you on here.
Thank
Thank you.
It was a
Thank you,
pleasure
Roland.
to be here.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, and see you next week.